Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Global Reviews webinar series. My name is Kapil Bhatia. I'm a Senior Client Advisor with Global Reviews. So today's topic for our webinar is how to optimize your quote-to-purchase journey. What we are focusing here today is how could you potentially enhance your site user experience for customers who are completing the quote until the purchase section. And how are we going to do this? We will be presenting you some insights that we have discovered as part of our research that was conducted in Q1 2018 for the motor insurance industry, and the research is conducted on desktop devices only. The agenda for today, so what we're taking you guys through, there you go. So the agenda for today, we'll first be talking a bit about ourselves, then I'll take you through the entire methodology on how the research is conducted, and then we take you through some top-level industry results. What we have done today is we would be also giving some insights on the user behavior of how people go on searching for a motor insurance provider online, and we would also be revealing the most preferred motor insurance brand in Australia in Q1 2018. Post that, we will be uncovering some insights on website usability, and in the end, I would be taking you through the summary and some recommendations on how you could enhance the experience of your users on the website. So a bit about ourselves. We have been in the industry since the year 2000. We have got offices in the UK, in Ireland, and also we're based in Australia. And we have also started doing some work with financial services companies in North America. And the way we work with all our companies is by all these products and services that are actually displayed on your screen right now. However, the focus for today is on a product called Fruition, which is all about conversion optimization. And these are these companies, just some of the companies that we work with. As you can see, they vary in terms of industries. Some of them come from banking, some energy, insurance, obviously, super, airlines, and many, many more. The advantage of working with Global Reviews is we not only bring you customer insights just from one specific industry, but we also get you insights from various other industries globally. And to give you an idea of the depth and breadth of our research, we conduct around 500 different studies, benchmarking thousands of brands in a year. This gives you an idea of how much of effort is being taken in terms of coming up with these insights for you for this particular session. Just to give you an idea, motor insurance studies are run every 6 months. So that gives you an idea of how recent the data is being run, and we keep ourselves updated with the entire industry approach. And then continuing with the brands, when it comes to insurance, these are the list of insurance brands that we have benchmarked in the last 12 months. So you can see we're not restricted just to motor. We also look at brands from life insurance, health, and even home insurance. Now, to give you a quick snapshot of our methodology and sample size, this particular study that I'm presenting to you today was conducted in March 2018. We had 255 participants in the study and a total of 10 brands evaluated, and I've presented all the brands that are in the study on your screen right now. Quick snapshot of methodology. So this is not the complete methodology, but just an overview of how the entire study is done. In our study, all our consumers are in market. That is, they are actively looking for a motor insurance provider. The way we would actually give them tasks, we give them actually tasks to actually do some research on your website. Those tasks are actually measured based on success, satisfaction, confidence, and evaluation criteria. We also look at the click paths and heat maps of these users to understand how they navigate on your website, and we also record the problems that they experience. Other than that, we also record the attitudinal questions or their preferences. For example, we might present them your homepage and ask them to rate the homepage based on criteria like visual look and feel, navigation, clutter, and many more. And what is more important is we also record the voice of customer during our research. So this gives you an idea of what kind of problems they must have experienced, or if they did like something, they are more than happy to express in the voice of customer. Now let's take you through the Discover section. The Discover section is all about user behavior. We will try to uncover insights on how do users go about in the online space to search for a motor insurance brand, and we will also be revealing the most preferred motor insurance brand in Australia. So the graph that you're seeing right now on your screen gives you an idea of how many stages are where research in our study when it comes to brand perception and behavior. You can see initially the users are asked to recollect 5 different brands, and in the end we ask them to prefer one brand as part of their complete research. When you see that particular area where it says shortlist, that's an area where we ask them, we actually give them a task. The task is to actually go online, research for a motor insurance brand, and shortlist a few of them. So at that particular stage, we do not guide them and we do not try to influence their decision. We just, give them their space to go and conduct their research and come up with a shortlist. To point out some areas of interest, you can see that Amy consistently remains at #1 across all these different stages. You can see budget rate, which is at #5 in the recall stage, ends up at #2 at final preference. That is, they must be doing something very interesting in the shortlisting stage. That's the stage where users are expected to go online and do some kind of research. They must be finding this brand much more interesting when they research online, and that's why they end up finally preferring them and have rated them as the second most preferred brand. In terms of brand relationship and initial preference, overall we had 74% of users saying that they had some sort of preference for a motor insurance brand at the initial stage. However, around 26% users expressed that they are not sure or they wouldn't select any of those brands that they have recalled in the initial stages. So you can see here the opportunity for a lot of brands to influence those 26% users to switch over to them. While 74% users are active in the actively looking for a brand, 26% users are another group of people who need to be guided and potentially influenced to select your brand. When it comes to the reasons why someone initially prefers a brand, it's the actual relationship that really influences their thinking. You can see that among the top 3 reasons that they choose a brand is either they are a current customer, or it's your reputation that matters to them, or they have engaged with the brand in the past. Now, something that I would like to highlight, and we continue with the story, is that yellow box that I've highlighted, which shows the preference of the pricing preference of customers. You can see that when it comes to thinking of a brand initially, price is not a factor that many of them consider. While when I take you to the final preference, you would see how does this particular factor actually influence the decision making. Now let's look at how the users go about researching for a motor insurance brand online. So as you may recall, 74% users had some sort of initial preference before they started doing this particular research. What we found is that 41% users began with some sort of search term that's generic in nature. Around 21% start with a brand term, and 18% had used a comparison term. So in total, you can see that 43% users use generic terms, 41% use brand, and 24% comparison. When I say comparison, the definition of a comparison term is if someone types in, for example, the cheapest or the most affordable insurance in Australia, for example, and generic, I would term the label the term such as just motor insurance is generic in nature. Uh, Here's just a word cloud that we have composed to show you what kind of keywords were actually input when they were researching for a brand on during these sessions. The kind of websites that they visited, but search engine obviously makes sense. 80% users start their journey at a search engine, 58% visited a brand website, another 50% visited an aggregator website. Here are some brand names and search terms that they used during our research. All in all, 65% users chose their initially preferred brand. Now, when it comes to the final preference, we'd like to let you know who was the most preferred motor insurance brand in Australia. So to reveal this, here are the top 4 most preferred brands in the country, led by Amy, and then Budget Rate, Allianz, and NRMA. And the reasons why someone would have preferred a brand are these. That is, they either had some sort of good experience with them, they had best plans for my needs. When I say best plans for my needs, what we mean by that is the ability of a website to personalize an offer for these users. And then again, users are influenced by deals and offers and discounts, etc., that influence them to make a decision on a particular brand. And continuing from our story, or before that, also the website experience really matters, and it's among the top 5 reasons why someone chooses a brand when it comes to their final preferences. So yeah, continuing with the story on the pricing, here you can see price is the second most important factor that influences a user to finally prefer a brand. And just to recall, at the initial preference stage, pricing was not even among the top 3 or top 5 reasons why someone chose a brand. So you can see how eventually the price factor plays such an important role when it comes to influencing the decision of the users. Now, while we have completed the entire discovery section, let's go into what we call the consider and act section. This is all about website usability, and this is what would actually cover the topic for the day, that is some tips on how you could potentially enhance your quote to purchase journey. So before we get there, here is a snapshot of our overall scores for desktop and mobile. So what you see right now is just a compilation of various brands on how their website usability experience has been managed, and we compile those scores based on various subcategories and come up with an overall score. So as you can see on desktop, it's Allianz that takes the lead. However, when it comes to mobile, you can see that different brands dominate different platforms in terms of user experiences. While Allianz may be on the top in desktop, but then when it comes to mobile, it's Suncorp that takes the lead, followed by Amy and Real Insurances. Overall, in the on-site experience, the average was around 61% versus mobile being 55%. That means there's a lot more work that the brands need to do on their mobile platforms when it comes to building sustainable and unique user experiences. Now the chart that you're seeing on your screen right now is a further breakdown of the subcategory levels in our research. What this chart actually is showing you is how a specific brand doesn't dominate each of these different subcategories. To give you an idea, so encouraging browsing is all about your homepage, and then finding the price is all about your quote to purchase journey. You can see there are different subcategories involved assigned with different weightings that helps us to come up with that overall score. While encouraging browsing and finding the price are just two different categories, we have many more other categories like comparing the prices, getting help, purchasing the product. So only for the sake of shortage of time, it makes sense that I just present you just top level insights and analysis on subcategories. This is just to give you an idea of what's the depth and breadth of a research program and how we evaluate different brands for their overall performance. Now, getting into the code to purchase journey, let's look at some opportunities and insights on what have we uncovered from our research that was conducted in Q1 2018. So what our research shows that users really value any sort of help and support that they are given during the code to purchase journey. Also, something interesting that we found is that length of a form is absolutely not directly proportional to the completion rate. Some interesting issues and opportunities. Some issues that we find is that the presentation of questions really makes a difference on how users perceive the ease of your code to purchase journey. It's important that you take a call on what kind of questions you want to present at the start of the journey that doesn't require a lot more cognitive effort. Again, as I said, help and support are very, very important for users during the code and purchase journey. A lot of brands struggle to offer that kind of support to users. Third issue is the user-based text-based forms. So the text-based forms need to be very, very efficient, and a lot of brands struggle to present that information in the right way. The opportunity, what we have seen internationally, is that a lot of brands are moving towards what you call conversational design forms that are less text-based, and they are more like chatbot having a chat with the customer and trying to present an information in such a way that you don't feel like you're filling up just a form basically. But we have some examples later in the presentation. Now, let's take you through the task for the code to purchase journey. So the way we evaluate a code to purchase is we assign them a task to complete the entire form, and then we try to identify different behaviors and insights on where users must have struggled, what are the things that users like, and what could potentially brands do and enhance the entire user experience online. So what you're seeing right now is 4 different criteria that we look into to measure a particular task. To get an online code and purchase comprehensive car insurance. And the 4 criteria are effectiveness, efficiency, satisfaction, and evaluation. The effectiveness is all about the success rate and the confidence of the users when post the task completion. Efficiency is all about the time taken and the number of page views that they take to complete the task. And then in the end, we ask them how satisfied they were with the entire user experience. And evaluation is a question that we ask them, say, how many of you did not experience any issues while completing the task? To give you some insights again, here you can see Coles was the topmost performer in this entire task. However, quite a few people have expressed issues with the Coles code to purchase forms during our study. Again, here's SGIC. So they were the most efficient brand which had the most efficient code process in the study. However, their success rate is just on average versus the top brands in the study. Then we have Budget Direct. So while Budget Direct was the second best performer in the study, their efficiency rate was fairly low than the other performing brands. So in the coming few slides, we'll just uncover a few insights on Coles and Budget Direct just to show you what things they have done to enhance the experience versus what other things they are lacking in and what you could potentially learn from these brands. So just to give you 2 voice of customers, and these were the kind of voice of customer we recorded for Budget Direct while users were complaining about the entire length of the code to purchase journey is very, very long, and users felt they were being asked too many questions to get a simple code. So let's look at calls, for example. So the way we actually measure measure the forms on a quote to purchase journey is we look through each and every field, the way it's being presented, the copies on them, and then we come up with an overall what you call an effort score for each of these forms. As you can see in this form, we can actually in the chart we can see how we have evaluated each of their field types, like whether it's a drop down, it's a radio button, it's a selection button, a lookup, or even a form entry. So while Coles does have a lot more helpful contextual based questions because they offer help at each of their questions, and what they also do very well is they have a pre-selected, I mean, they have a tick once you complete a particular question indicating that the user has filled that information correctly or the way it's meant to be. Mind you, Colt is one of our clients again, and we do work with them closely to enhance your user experience online. Also, as you can see, the way they present their questions, they use different font sizes to present the questions versus the description. And then subtle line to separate different segments just gives you an idea of how they're presenting this information to make it easy for users to complete the form with in a much more faster and efficient way. So the 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 chart or the table that you're seeing on the right hand side is just a comparison of Coles versus Budget Direct in terms of form effort. Here you can see that Budget Direct scores fairly well when it comes to the form effort versus Coles. However, when it comes to which was the most easiest to fill form, the users rated the Coles form a bit better than Budget Direct. And so would abandon and was easy are basically user inputs, and we asked them this question like, would you abandon once if you have any issues with the form versus how easy was it to complete the entire form during the task. Another thing that goes as well is the error validation. They make sure that if you have filled or you have missed a particular field when you start hit the next button or hit the submit button, and if there's some sort of error, the form brings you back to that particular question that you may have missed and makes it easy for you to identify where exactly are the errors so that you can complete the form with ease. Now, some of the changes that Coles have done is they've actually got rid of one of the questions in the last study. They also combined and prioritized their car search. So there were two different searches that they had, one was manual based and one was using Rego. So they have given more of the the Rego number, the Rego style search has been given more prominence versus the manual selection. Also, they have been pushing a lot more for their online deals. So if somebody is buying the Coles Institute online, they want to give them an offer, a 10% discount to help them with the entire completion of the process. And they constantly push the differentiation factor throughout the quote to purchase journey. They want to talk about how they're different versus the other providers, or at least reassure the user that they are available 24/7, lifetime guarantee, and whatever. Just putting your mind at ease that it's all right to continue purchasing the product. So one of our recommendations definitely is definitely consider introducing your why choose us on the code pages, because that just enforces the message on your differentiation factor. Now let's have a look at Budget Direct. So this is again Budget Direct's code process. You can see once again we have gone through each of their form fields and assign them a different rating and trying to give them a form effort score. Here you can see, so while Budget Direct probably has one of the longest forms in the industry, one thing that they also do is they actually place higher cognitive load questions much earlier in the form, which may have given some users the impression that it's too much of information for us to fill, and that's why the form is too long and there are too many questions. Once again, the same table just to remind your scores for their form effort, abandon rate, and how easy was it to fill the form. Some good things about them. So they do opt for presenting just one question per screen, so there's less possibility of a user to do mistakes. So you just focus on one question at a time, and it's much more easier to complete the form. And also they give detailed descriptions for each of the cover types. So that gives a user an idea on what exactly they're buying from the website. Also, they have constantly used a date selector whenever it comes to filling up dates anywhere. There's less chance of a user doing a mistake when it comes to date selector, and far more easier for them to interact with the website. Something that they struggle with is the progress bar. So they do have progress bar. However, since the process is very, very lengthy, if someone wants to jump from, say, step 10 to excuse me, step 10 to step 5, they need to keep on pressing back button at least 5 times to go to that step. So one of our another recommendations is it's great to have a progress bar, but you need to make it clickable in nature so that people can jump in and out of any step they want anytime to correct things whenever possible. To give you an idea, what 25% users complain for Budget Direct that the process are too long and lengthy, and a lot more questions were, there were a lot more questions than they actually expected. But overall, remember, Budget Direct was the second best performer in this task. So that also proves that sometimes when even though they have such a lengthy process, the users were able to successfully complete the entire form fulfillment. So that also shows that the length of the form sometimes doesn't matter. It depends on how you are presenting this information. Now, when it comes to the quote to purchase process for the customer audit, here is Allianz, for example. So Allianz has lacks help in the code process to clarify any potential questions. To give you an idea, here are the 3 different questions we ask sometimes the users to rate the quote to purchase process in terms of safety and security, in terms of satisfaction that the online application explained to the users what's being involved before they start the purchase journey, and also if there was any sort of help and support during the purchase process. I've highlighted some of the brands who did fairly well in the entire journey. To give you an example, here's Amy, for example. You can see this is a screen that's come up when the users have completed the code and now they're about to start the purchase. They actually list down all the information that's needed and even tell you the time it would take for you to finish the entire purchase process, how it is safe and secure, and what's the cooling period, etc. Of the policy. So they give you away essential information before you start to take out your credit card to purchase the product from them. They also list the contact channels up on the page in a sticky way. Again, the safety and security aspect is highlighted very well in the purchase process by telling them it's actually safe and secure to continue with this journey. Just before I go ahead, so this is another voice of customer for one of the brands where the user explained, saying, I don't trust the information online. It's kept safe and secure. Well, I'll leave it for you guys to read, just to give you an idea on what kind of information we do capture during the research from the consumer's point of view. Here's another example that's Progressive Direct. While they scored fairly well in the means to get in touch, you can see how they have got the get help sticky on the top of the page, and also they have their phone numbers and other contact channels available throughout the code to purchase process. That gives the user an assurance that if they get stuck somewhere during the purchase, they can get in touch with them for any help. Now, as you may recall, I did mention about the conversational design purchase code to purchase forms. So this has been actively been adopted in the UK and US, and we are working with some of the clients out there to help them further optimize the entire conversational design process. So to give you an idea, here is another a health insurance company in the UK called VHI. you can see how they present this information in real time. So as and when you keep on completing this information, talking about what's your age, who is the insurance meant for, in real time, the they show you uh, how many policies are applicable to you and how many of them you could potentially apply. So pure bit by bit, they reveal the potential products and services listed on the website based on the information that you provide them. Here's another example, that's Beagle Street. They also have an interactive tool that's available. You can see consumers can modify the information on the go at any given time during the purchase process, and price keeps on automatically changing based on the inputs that you provide them. And again, here's Frank. Again, it's an Australian-based company, and begins a code process with a like a match to needs tool based on what kind of input you give. They provide you the products and services. Here's another example is Lemonade. So that's again another insurance company. They use a chatbot to interact with the consumers. So they talk to you as if it gives you a feel as if you're talking to a real person. What it does, it also presents one question at a time on the screen. So again, the same strategy they are using to engage the user. So they're doing two different things. They are presenting one question at a time, and they're presenting it as if it's a conversational design. Just makes it easy for consumers to complete the format easily. And also they have beautiful use of iconography and much more easily clarified questions or help. So when you click on something, they immediately come up with a description below it saying what you're supposed to do with this information or how you could potentially fill it up. And also they have beautiful way of managing the objection handling in the entire code process. While to summarize this entire webinar, now we're just coming to an end, that code to purchase tools are definitely complex in nature, and we need to work on them in an iterative way, because you can't just revamp the entire code to purchase journey in one day, and it requires a lot more effort. So to summarize the things that we actually spoke about today is definitely avoid questions that require higher cognitive load at the very start of the code process. You want to make the consumers feel at ease, and you do not want them to start looking for this information in their drawers, or go back and look for that information somewhere and move away from the laptop or computer or wherever they are filling this up. And again, it's important that you list all the information that's needed for them to complete during the purchase process right at the start of the fulfillment. Makes it much more easier for users to prepare themselves while they are in the midst of an entire go to purchase journey. Safety and security is very important. Also give them an indication of where they are exactly in the process, just to avoid any sort of anxiety. Also, as we said, watch out for those conversational style code to purchase journeys. That could be potentially the future of the code to purchase process in the coming years. So, but there's so much more that we can actually talk about. This was just one part of our entire research that's code to purchase. There's so many other aspects that we actually cover in the entire research. To give you an idea, this is just a high level of information that we shared with you guys today. But when it comes to our clients, we actually do a full tailored analysis at a very, very micro level. We also work with the clients to identify the problems that they have experienced and how could they potentially enhance the entire journey on their website. We also work with clients to help them come up with insights from their competitors and run insight activation workshops. We also have an online portal access for our clients that gives them access to their data 24/7, and you can pivot the data the way you want to at any given time. Just to give you an idea, we are about to run a Q3 2018 motor insurance study soon. For any sort of information, I've given the contact details of our marketing coordinator, that's Maddie. Get in touch with her to know any details about our programs whenever you want to. For any other information, again, Maddie is still the contact point. Please note that we will be emailing this webinar and presentation to all the registered users. So thank you for your time. This is Kapil Bhatia signing off at Global Reviews. Have a nice day.